Hi there, thanks for coming along today and watching me make the Woodloes bag for you. This will be approximately 1 hour tutorial where I'm hoping to make the bag from start to end. Everything's pre-cut already. If you don't already follow me on YouTube, please do consider giving me a like and subscribe. And in the description area I will have all the links of where you can get this pant if you'd still like to buy it, and where you can also buy kits from on Sewing Street TV. In the comments I am going to just put a link in now to my Ko-fi account. I obviously do all of this just for you guys. I am giving up my time freely and voluntarily. If you can kindly consider popping some money into my Ko-fi account so that me and my family can enjoy that later on, of course I'm going to be very, very grateful to you. So I'm going to get on and make the bag now. And for the people that are watching me, I'm just going to pop the link in now. Bear with. So there's a link so you can see it, and obviously if you are able to and kind enough to and are looking forward to, I would obviously really appreciate any support through the Ko-fi account. But having you here is obviously great support. I really appreciate it. Having you with me, interacting with me, asking questions, just having a bit of chat amongst one another as well as with me is exactly what we're here for. It's about building community. So I'm going to start sewing now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be working on the bottom pocket. If I show you on the visuals, so I'm going to be working on this pocket here, then I'm going to go to this pocket, then I'm going to make the flap, and then we're going to be completing this front section here before lifting all of this and laying it down this front central panel. Okay. So this is my bottom pocket that I'm working on. I have two pieces. I'm going to be working in a brown oilcloth today, oilcloth fabric, along with this statement fabric here that I've had in my stash for quite a while now. These are both the same size, and all we're going to do is we're going to start by inserting a zip into the two, just like so. So I've just got some tape on here, some sticky tape. And I'm just going to remove one side of it if I can. It can be a bit of a pain sometimes, this stuff can. And it's choosing its moment, isn't it? There we go. Oh, left a little bit of paper behind there. I'm going to try and keep tidy as I go, so I've got a bin right next to me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my zip. It is a closed zip with the pull to the left hand side, and I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to line up those raw edges just like so. My zip has extended over, so I'm just going to leave that zip pull to the far left hand side for now. And then I'm going to take this second piece of fabric and line it up on top. Now normally when I'm working slowly and I want absolute accuracy, I would base it sew the zip in first, this layer element, and then I would go in and pop this in. But for today's purposes, I'm going to get straight on and just go for it. Similarly, when I do photography, I'm always mindful about which clips I use, and I make sure they're the same colours, and we'll have none of that today. No. Okay, so I'm going to start now by popping on my zip foot. That's the word I'm looking for. The fog is awful. The foggy fog. Do you know, I never have problems. I know what it is. On this machine, it's a new machine, it's got an IDT system, which is an integrated foot mechanism. And before putting a new foot on, you have to take that out. Right, so this is where I'm going to have to just fiddle a little bit because I want to make sure we've got the machine in here. I'm so sorry about the coughing. I'm just going to move my machine a little bit to bring it closer. Family life, somebody's just walked in.
Hello, my name's Steve. I'm coming to rob you.
Okay. I'm on a live right now. Sorry, everybody. I did message you in the night to say that I'll be unavailable till about 11:30.
What time did you message me at?
It was about 3 o'clock this morning. Okay. So what I'm going to do now then is we're going to sew close to the zip tape straight along. I have got a regular stitch length on my foot, and I'm going to work quite close to the zip tape, which I can feel. The thing about oilcloth is you can score as well, which is quite nice with your finger or with a pin or anything like that. So here we go. Oh, let me increase that stitch length a little bit, else we'll be here all day. And we're going to go straight along. Many apologies for that just then. I always say that this is real life. I do work from home, and if people come in and out, family, I don't stop them. Okay, hope you understand that. So there we go, that's all sewn in. You've probably seen this element of the demonstration many a time. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip, it will be on YouTube, yes, Gainer, is I'm just going to press that upwards, and then I'm going to press it down so that these bottom edges, I'm trying to get the angle just right so we can see a bit of everything. I think that's better. There we go. So now I'm just going to flip this downwards like so the bottom edges should meet. And I'm going to use my seam roller now just to roll that down. Now you can use an iron, but only on the fabric. You can't use it on the oilcloth, which is why I use this, and I'll just be reaching for this today. In the main, hello Mari, is it Mari or Marie? Try and let me know if you can. And now I'm going to top stitch close to this edge just here. So I'm just going to switch out my foot quickly, and I'm going to pop on my 1/4 inch foot because I do like using this foot because it's got really good sort of markings on it for me to be able to follow. But for those that can't see, obviously, I'm going to be working about 1/8 of an inch onto the fabric, and I'm going to increase my stitch length to 3.5, and I'm going to work along. I'm not sure I've ever tried making an entire bag live before. Okay, so that's that bit in. Okay, so now we're going to start working on the top pockets. So we're going to take our fabric panel, and that's going to be bonded in exactly the same way by lining that up just like so. Oh, excuse me. I'm just going to use pins for this one. Just because this stuff's actually quite expensive, so I'll make sure I use it on those bits that are just going to give me more issues, if you like. Okay, take my zip foot, my 1/4 inch foot out, and I'm going to pop my zip foot back in again. There we go. And again, I'm going to be sewing close to the zip tape. Take my stitch length down again. Is the angle all right for everybody? Are there any issues that I have not noticed? Please just say and raise my attention, won't you? I'd love to be one of those fancy people that's got all the gear, but I don't. And I've looked into it, but if this works, then why bother? Right, so that's going to get pressed upwards, okay? And we're not going to do any top stitching here just yet. I'm going to take its lining piece now, which is longer, it's deeper that way, and I'm going to line it up at the top edge. I'm going to go quickly take the zip foot off now, and I'm going to put my regular foot on now. And each time I use the regular foot, I'm also going to pop in the integrated walking foot because I have it. Why wouldn't I use it? And the walking foot is just going to help me maintain that regular feed through of fabrics. Really good to have, and you'll have this as probably an accessory to pop on as a foot option on your machine. So now I'm just going to work along. I must remember my cup of tea. You've all gone quiet now. Does that mean you're just watching or sewing? Right, so now I'm going to push that upwards. I'm going to use my seam roller again. Make it nice and flat. Use the tools if you've got them. Oh dear, that's bouncy, isn't it? Sorry. Flip it over, and we're coming to the reverse of these pockets now. And I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to overlap it. Can you see there's a stitch line here that we've already worked on? I want to make sure it just covers. And then I'm going to clip and hold first up. Oh, that was bouncy. You'll all be feeling sick. Going to flip it back to the right side again now. And now I'm just going to roller this top edge. Does it bounce when I'm sewing? Is it bouncing in a disturbing kind of way? And now I'm just going to top stitch along here. Okay, so I'm going to take off the foot, pop on the 1/4 inch foot, ready to increase my stitch length and sew that 3.5 again. And I'm going to have a quick look, see if the machine... No, I don't think the phone's bouncing, is it? When I'm sewing. When I'm doing my top stitching, I'm not reversing at both ends to lock the stitches. I'm just having a quick sip of my tea. And now we're going to go to the flap. So we're just going to keep this on hold for now, and we are going to sew this line, but just a little bit later on. Similarly, we're going to trim this down, but a little bit later on. So here's the flap now. I've put the two pieces together. You'll have a pattern piece to cut these corners off, okay? But I've just drawn the lines just for now. Let me cut them because I haven't done that. And then with our regular foot on again, you see there's a lot of switching in and out, but it's only at the start section, and you don't have to do it like this. Use one foot if you want, that's entirely up to you. But on this panel here now, we're just going to sew down and around, basically leaving this one long edge free. Any questions so far? Anything you're unsure about? Anything you want to ask? I do not know the lottery numbers for tonight. Right, so then we've got all this done. So I'm just going to reduce down some of these seams now, particularly over those corners, so they'll push through nicely. Make sure I've still got people here with me. And then I'm going to turn it through and push out those corners. And I'm just pushing out those little angles. And then I should be getting a roller on it again. I'm so sorry about my coughing. Going to bounce a little bit again, I'm imagining. Right, so that's that one all done. Okay, so now we're ready to sort of start laying this out on our base piece of fabric. I'm just making sure I've got the right one here. Everything's upside down. Let me move those out of the way. I've got two pieces of fabric, and effectively we want the one that's that bit shorter, and we're going to start lining things up now and just start seeing it come together. I won't do any cam snaps until the end, but here, which way have I gone there? We're now just going to be lining all of this up and using our clips to secure it. It's a really satisfying step, this is, I have to say, because you see it start to come to life, which is lovely. I'm just clipping around, lining up all those edges. And I'm going to need to make sure that I pull that zip pull in now. It's a bit I like to forget. You know what it's like. Get another clip down this side here. Get a few more from my little pot. going to transfer these clips I had in before just across. I'm going to move that zip in because I really don't want to forget about it. And this way you can start thinking, well, which side of the flap do you want on? Do you want the brown or do you want the fabric? Both nice. Oh God, I don't actually know now. I don't know. Which would you choose? Fabric? What can you see? Fabric like so? Or the oilcloth like so? Oh, excuse me. Right, I am going to make a judgment call, and I'm going to do the brown. I'm going to do the brown fabric. It's a big decision, isn't it? Anybody else got any thoughts before I go ahead? You've got to be quick though. Got to be quick. I'll have a sip of my tea and let's see what you say. So, Mari says fabric. Have we got any other comments in here? Fabric, fabric. Oh, now I'm going to have to choose fabric, aren't I? Okay, I'll do it. But if you're wrong, you're to blame. You're to blame, not me. But let's do it. Right, and then hot water and... yeah, I know. Brown. Oh, damn it, Tanya. Damn it. Right, so I am going to base sew all of this in place now, all the way around. And now I'm going to sew that line across there. So it'll be long stitches all around there, and this will be a 3.5 across here, and I'll do that last. Okay, I'm going to leave my 1/4 inch foot on actually for this bit. Because I do want to be sewing quite close to the edge. I'm going to up my stitch length to a 4.5. That'll be fine just there. And we'll work across. Honestly, this COVID, it's a pain. I've never, oh God, the tiredness. I'm assuming you all know that I've been on holiday and spent the holiday in bed. Beautiful. Not to worry. Not to worry. I won't be a Debbie Downer. Just keep working around those 4 edges. How are you getting on, Kathy? You're working. Maureen, you're working, aren't you? Tell me how you're all getting on with your sewing. If you are watching this on playback, or if you're watching it on YouTube, I'd say sorry for all the chit chat, but I'm actually really not sorry, because it's better than it being a serious old do, isn't it? It's not for me. Okay, that's done there, and then I'm going to do that row of top stitching that I just mentioned. Oh, I forgot to turn my stitch length down, not to worry. Back to my 3.5. Let's get that zip pull out of the way. And cut those threads. Okay. Now I can cut this excess zip tape off across here with my shears. And get that gone. Excuse me. And now we're going to reach for that second piece of fabric, which is just here. So now it's this fabric panel here. It's up to you which fabrics you use where. When I write these instructions, I kind of have to give you, you know, fabric numbers to use. But very often when you see mine, I actually totally ignore all that. It's just some of you need to be told, not in an aggressive kind of way, but you want to be told what to use and where, and I understand that. But when I'm sewing, I just put whatever I want at that moment in time. This piece of fabric here now, I'm going to be sewing the top and the bottom, and it is longer, don't worry, it's meant to be that way. So I'm just going to quickly clip across here. I'll do the same at the other end. And then when that's done, we'll turn it all through to the right side, get our seam roller on it and give it a top stitch again. Just going to switch my foot out again now, and I'm going to put my regular foot on now. And I'm going to introduce the IDT system back, which, as I mentioned, is the walking foot. So I'm just going to sew those two edges now. I will reverse now at each end just to make sure it's locked and nice and secure. So who's got this pattern and they're waiting to make it? Anybody? Kathy was very kindly a tester for this pattern, which is why she's got hers already. Kathy, who's here watching today, she made one in a beautiful red gingham fabric, which is gorgeous. So this is where I say now we're just going to turn it all through, you see, to the right side. Like so. And then we can roll out those seams at the top and bottom. If you want to, you can even out the excess on both ends. On this one today, I am going to make the decision to only have it poking out at the top. That's what I'm going to do. And because I don't want everything bouncing around again, I'm not going to roll it. It's actually sitting really lovely and flat. I'm going to top stitch along the very uppermost edge, but not do the bottom yet. So again, I'm going to be taking my 1/4 inch foot. I'm going to increase it to a 3.5 again and just stitch that uppermost edge to get a real lovely finish. Oh. Oh, people coming in again. Hello. Oh, it's my husband with a drink for me, so that's nice. Excuse me, thank you. How cool is that? I've got it and fabrics chosen, just haven't had time to start yet. Do you have to keep changing the foot? I'm choosing to change the foot. If you want to do it with just one foot, you know, do it. But if you use the same foot, like the regular foot, what you should be doing instead, in lieu of this changing feet, is moving your needle left and right to optimise getting as close as you can to the zips, close to the edge, things like that when you're doing your top stitching. So I choose to do it because I've got them. I mean, how many seconds did it take me to change them? Why wouldn't I? So that's why I'm doing it. Right, so now all this is done, all this front section. So let me show you on paper. We've now done from there downwards. So now we need to load this onto this base panel here. And we've got two of these. One's going to be for the front of the bag and one's going to be for the back of the bag. So here's one. And I'm going to lay it on top. Now let me just check what the measurement is. Bear with a second. Number 8. Step number 8. From the bottom edge. Right, okay. Let me just get my ruler, bear with. So it wants to be 2.5 inches up from the bottom edge. So I just use my big ruler here and I lay it down like so. So that all lines up here, 2.5 inches. And then it's all the same width, so I can just lay it down. Oh, I've just moved all of that, not to worry. If it's out slightly, you know, I wouldn't be worrying too much. So lay that in, so it's nice and straight, like so. And then we're going to clip it and baste sew again within 1/4 inch down these sides here. And this is where we're going to top stitch here now across the bottom to hold it nice and firm. So again, we would be using our 1/4 inch foot to go along the bottom, or move your needle if that's what you prefer, and then a regular foot and maybe like a 4 stitch to go down here. It doesn't need to be short stitches down there because we are going to be sewing it again. This, I would say, is the hardest part of making the whole bag. It does come together faster than you think though. So hopefully nobody's feeling kind of put off at this stage at all. Well, I don't want you to put off at all, quite frankly. Right, I'm just going to move along here. I know this is going to be a pain for me again, because I know this machine now. There's quite a bit of weight just here, quite a few layers. If you've got, and that's because I'm using oilcloth, and it's a very heavyweight oilcloth that I'm working with here. If you are using regular fabrics, what you can do if you want to reduce some of this bulk here that you've got, let me try and show you here. Can you see that depth? You can use your clapper. Blooming love my clapper. I've got quite a bit to say about my clapper, I can tell you. So, I'm not 100% sure to talk about this lots yet, but people, I'm writing a book. And one of the chapters is going to be called A Christmas Clapper. A Christmas Clapper. And it was all about the year that I just wanted a piece of wood for Christmas. Just wanted a little bit of wood off my husband. But news to follow on that. But not yet. Exciting! Exciting! All these bits I need to edit out of a YouTube video because I shouldn't be talking about them. My laptop keeps going off. I keep nudging it when the screen goes black. Right. There we go. So that's that all done. So the front centre panel is now complete. Okay, let me just get rid of a few of these threads because I hate threads. Hate them, hate them. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the sides on. Because we're going to be boxing this out, it will also become the base. Let me get those panels ready. And I'm going to be working now on the front and the back. So I've got 4 of these. They look quite skinny actually, panels. And they're going to be attached to the sides like so. Just for a bit of speed, I'm not going to be clipping them. I'm just going to go straight in and sew. I'm reducing my stitch length down now to a standard stitch length. It's going to be a bit chunky. In fact, let me just engage that IDT again. And I'm just going to sew now, make sure that I reverse at both ends nice and secure. And I'm going to work my way down. Hi there, Valerie. You're not late. I mean, we're not at school, are we? But nonetheless, absolutely lovely to have you with us. You will be able to watch this back today on Facebook. And when I've had some time, I shall be doing a bit of editing. And it will be available on YouTube as well. I'll get rid of a bit of the talk on YouTube. But why are you late? We're all nosy now. Well, I am. I want to know why you're late. Have you done something good with your morning? Or did you just have yourself a little lay-in? This oilcloth I'm using is absolutely beautiful. I do sell it, and I can sell it for this bag if anybody just fancies this fabric. I talk about them being hero fabrics actually. I've got some for the Elizabeth bag, and I don't know why, but I haven't sold any beyond me because they're taller pinks in beautiful hero in these browns with taller pink fabrics for the front and for the pockets. I don't make kits up for all of the fabrics because I know perfectly well that in your stash you're going to have loads of fabrics in there that will make suitable linings, and it helps you use your stash and it helps spend on the save as well. I'm using a standard needle size here, nothing special. I do use a polyester thread, gives it a bit of extra strength. But again, nothing special. I just use Gutman's. I'm now working on the back panel, just completing it in the same way. So we've got a centre panel and 2 sides. If you want to, you can just make one complete panel, if that's what you prefer. And then when this one's sewn in, we'll be pressing the seams to the side and we'll be doing some top stitching very quickly. Is the view still okay for everybody? Or anything that I need to change? I normally sew a bit faster, but sometimes it's worth slowing down because you just know it's going to be a cracking bag. And I know this is going to be a cracking bag. That's not me blowing my own trumpet. It's just anything made with oilcloth looks fab. I'm going back in with my 1/4 inch for this top stitching element. My machine's going to need a clean after this. Right, I'm just going to, let me move this out of the way. For anybody that's only just arrived, you'll know that, you won't know that everything jumps around a bit on the camera when I use my roller. So I'm going to try and just do this by hand instead. That's the beauty of oilcloth, it just does exactly what you want. If you haven't used oilcloth before, there's different types you can get. Some are wax, some are dry. This is, I think, it is a wax. I can feel it on my fingers, but it doesn't cause offence. It's not going to ruin anything. It ages beautifully. I love these types of fabrics. The kind of fabric, I mean, watch this, right, lovely. If I do that, it's going to hold. I open it up and it's crunchy. But that crunchiness, I like that. It gives it age, and you start getting these little lines and markings in it that kind of stay. It's very, I want to say Barber. What do you call them? Those wax jackets you used to get back in like the 90s and noughties. It's a bit like that. But it's nice. It doesn't smell though. I'm having that problem again right at the start. You won't, it's just my machine. Me and my machine don't get on very well. When you've made a bag with this type of fabric though, you will want to change your needle, put a fresh needle in. But then that's true of most projects, isn't it? Oh wow, dogs galore, how nice is that? Are they going to send you crazy though? My mum and dad have just looked after my brother's and his partner's dog for a week. Holly, a little puppy. Oh my god, it's like a dog with ADHD. It's crazy dog, but very sweet. My dad actually trained her a little bit, and he got the dog so that the dog would lay down, and my dad would put a treat onto her leg, and she just had to sit and stare at my dad until he told her she could have it. It was very sweet, very sweet. Right, so this is the back panel. Now with all the top stitching done, it's worth doing. It looks lovely, really nice. And I'm just going to do the same now on this front panel, and you'll really start to see how beautiful this bag is looking. I actually sewed onto this one of my labels. You can see them over in my Etsy shop, but can you see the handmade? Really nice, because, you know, A, why not, but I am thinking that this might be a Christmas gift for somebody. Because word has it Christmas is on the way. Bit bangy, because we've got loads of layers here. Oh, I forgot to snip my thread, son. I'll show you, I'll give you a good viewing of this in a second. So nicely pressing it across. Like I say, if you're working with fabrics rather than oilcloths, get your iron on there. It's only because I'm working with oilcloth and you can't iron it, really. Sometimes I do. Oh. Bit bangy again. You've got to think I've got a lot of layers across those pockets, a lot of seams. Okay, so there we go. That's the front panel all done. So now what we do, just to complete all of the outside of the bag, is we attach the two together. I'm just going to clip them. Going to clip the sides on that bottom edge. I'm jumping ahead rather than reading the instructions, so I hope I'm doing this right. I'm going to be reducing my stitch length down. And then I shall be cutting some corners out, ready to sew and then box it through. That is the plan. Just going to make sure these bottom edges are lined up so they're kind of all matching nicely. Do you know, when I was on TV the other day, I did this. I sewed the wrong panels. They weren't right side to right side. They're meant to be right side to right side, people. Honest to God. See, we all do it. At least I spotted it. Laptop keeps going off. Wants to go to sleep. Don't we all? This is interesting. Right, so here's my bottom corners down here. So I need to cut the the corners out. So I'm just going to get my ruler and check the measurement. I think I know what it is. But let me just check. Where are you? It always happens where you can't see it. So it's a pocket, place in this pocket. Box in the corners, there we go. 2-inch square. Right. Cripes, that took me a while. Right, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use just scissors just to score a line instead. And it marks, can you see? So I can just cut that out. Nice little handy tip, isn't it? And then I will just cut those out. How are we doing for time? Was I overly optimistic with my hour and a half? Right, so they're gone. Right, we're going to put our normal foot on now. Pop on the IDT system again. And now we're going to sew the sides and the bottom as mentioned. So I'm going to speed up. I can sew a little bit faster. I'm just hitting the wall there. Clips on the floor, you know it. And then we're going to make sure we really reverse those ends. And then we're going to go straight in and box the corners out. So I'm just going to pull the sides out so it becomes a 3D shape now. And I'm going to go in here and make sure those lines join up to the two seams. And when they are, we can clip and sew. Or in my case, take it straight to the machine. reversing twice at each end there. The back, forward, back. Because I want it to be really, really, really super secure. And then I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So just pull those out. The seam lines will meet. And across we go. As I mentioned before, I do have a coffee account, so it is just like a tips jar. So if you are enjoying this today and you're getting something from it, it'd be lovely if you would consider popping £1 in there, or something like that. I would obviously really, really appreciate it. I'm just popping the link into the comments so you can see it. Right, let me just turn this around. Oh, you're recovering from COVID as well. I know, it's absolutely pants. Right, let me just turn this up a minute. Whoa, wobbly wobbly. So now if I turn this through to the right side, you're going to start to get a really, really good impression of what this bag looks like. Yeah, COVID sucks, doesn't it? So I am, like I say, because I'm using oilcloth, it takes a bit more work to push it through, a bit more oomph. But gosh, this is going to be a bag that lasts a very, very long time. Very long time. My God, this looks amazing. Are you ready? That's it. So that's the outside of the bag done. Obviously I've got to put the clasp on just there, but you don't need to see that, do you? So yeah, what do you think of the outside? Cool. So we've got to add the straps on still, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to work straight on now with the inside of the bag, but first let me just votes for women. You like the bag? You would say that, Christine, didn't you? Wasn't it you that chose the fabric? Anyway, yeah, I'm pleased with that. It would have looked lovely any old how, wouldn't it? So now we're going to move on to the inside of the bag. So what we've got is, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but you've got a place to have like a key fob thing. So if you want to attach your keys and that kind of stuff onto it afterwards, you know, for security, people like that, don't they? So I just built it into the design. So we've got two pieces for that. We've got the little bit that will attach the bag and then the bit that's removable from the bag. The bit that attaches the bag, I've done it already, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But here's a strap. So I've just pre-folded it already, and all you've got is a piece of fabric that folds in on itself twice. And then we're going to top stitch. I like to top stitch down both long edges. Okay, so let's go back to the machine and let's get on with the inside of this bag. I'm glad you're all still with me though, thank you. Right. I thought I was done with the 1/4 inch foot, but I am not. Like I say earlier on, you don't have to keep popping your foot on and off. It's just because I like to make sure that I can get close to that edge. That's all this is. So let's go. Oh, having a little moment now. Let me turn the speed down. So I've just used pins to hold this together. And I'm just going to sew both sides. You only have to do one if you want to, but I think it looks more balanced if you do both. And just for argument's sake, I'm going to put the needle down, go across, and then go straight in to do the other side. Oh no, I'm not, because I just pressed the wrong button and I've just cut the threads. I'm sewing like made my Donny shirt. Perfect. Yes, yes, yes. We can't wait to see that, Danielle. Did you decide on your fabric choices in the end though, Danielle? Oh, here's something for me to just show you. When I'm doing long strips of fabric like this, I'm kind of like proud of myself. I always get these rows neat. And I think I always put it down to these two fingers. When I sew, what I do is I kind of open up my fingers and I hold one each side. And I rest this part of my hand down. And it kind of gives it enough stability to make sure it's so straight. See? And then as I get closer to the top, I stop and I put my finger on it. Hope you found that useful. I always forget about that. I wouldn't call it a trick, I just call it a thing that I do, that's all. Right, so then we're going to attach this to our whatever you want to call it, because the word's gone from me again. That. So I'm just going to slot it through. You're welcome, Christine. I'm going to slot it through, and then this is just my preferred method, and later on, just to let you know, I am going to add rivets to some of this too, but I'm just going to be sewing across those two short ends just now. I'm going to reduce the stitch length down to about a 2 here because there's not much space to sew, and I want to make sure it's really firm in there. Another great tip coming up, hope you're ready. Just trimming my threads down there. Okay, so now we've got this raw edge. What I tend to do now is I turn everything through. So if you look here, I'm going to turn it like that. See, here you go, ping. And then it looks like this. Turn it so that the join end is now down by the metal. And then if you can, if you've left enough room, just wrap that around. If you haven't, don't worry, just pop it to one side. So it's like that, and it hides all the raw edges. And then you can add your rivet in just there, which is what I'll do. I'll do that in just a minute, I think. But for now, I'm just going to pop it to one side with the clip on it, because that's not really the important part of all of this. And I'm going to pop it to one side with my outer bag. So moving to the inside of the bag now, we've got 2 pieces of fabric to make the slip pocket. One piece is deeper than the other, and all you're going to do is sew those 2 long edges. This is where you could do the iron on, because we're now working with our fabric, so it's safe to do so, but I don't have mine on, so I'm just going to use that roller seam in just a minute. And I'm going to sew at 1 centimetre seam allowance, securing nicely at both ends again. I'm glad you got your fabric back. Glad George gave it up for you. I had a lovely cuddly cat in bed with me again last night. Okay, the other side I've already sewn, I did that yesterday. But now we've got effectively a tube, and I'm going to just put my hand in and pull it through. Now, interestingly, I know this might not be interesting actually, thinking about it out loud. What you can do, if you want, the idea of this piece is that obviously it's a slip pocket, but when you press it, you have it so that you have an equal amount of that sort of contrast fabric peeking at the top and bottom, or you can have it so you've got a solid line at the top, whichever. If you've got 2 pieces of fabric that are equally nice, what I tend to do is just have it so you have it like that. It looks kind of nice. It looks surprisingly nice. So, you know, just think a bit outside the box. I mean, that's not like the everything tip, is it? But I've done it, especially if I've run short of a fabric, I just fudge fabrics together and then make it look like it's meant to be. It's fine. So I'm just going to try and press this with my fingers now, and then I'm going to top stitch just one edge, and the other edge will be top stitched when it's sewn into place. So actually, let me just leave that engaged and we'll just use the regular foot. There we go. Increase that to a 3.5. Which fabric are you loving? The brown or the green or the mustardy one? So many fabrics to love here. Had this green ages ago, and it was to make a big bag, but I'm just never getting to it. So I thought, I think it'll look lovely with this green, with this brown. I actually pulled out 3 bundles as choices, and I ended up using none of them because the seasons change, and I don't know, I just think this is quite autumny. I like it. So that's top stitched in now. So now all we need to do is get this into the lining pieces. I've got my little basket, look, all pre-made. The lining, I've done one already. It has these facings on where I've just added the contrast fabric into the top. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I love to see a bit of contrast where I can. So that one's done. Pop it to one side. And then what we've got, we're just going to revert back a little bit here, is when we sew the facing in, I'll call it a facing, you lay it down so far down the edge, and then you're going to flip it up and top stitch it in. Just gives it a bit of interest. And what I've done here, just on one edge, do you know I mentioned that I've done the other bit already? There it is. And I am going to add a rivet in just there a little bit later on, just for a bit of detail. So I'm just going to sew this in now. Surprising how colours come together, isn't it? I spent more time thinking about the lining fabric actually, Christine and Carol. I've got so many plain colours, anything really would have gone. But yeah, I mean, I settled on this one because I love these types of colours at this time of year. I think they work really, really well. So now I'm just going to, again, I'm going to finger press, but normally I would be getting my iron out. But I'm just going to finger press that up, and I'm going to top stitch along here. So obviously, you're going to be sick of this, aren't you? Swapping my feet all the time. You should be glad I'm not changing needles. That's the problem when you use top stitch thread, is that you do have to change needles as well. But it is worth that. So I'm just going to back up to 3.5, and I'm just going to stitch that to hold it in place forever. And then I'm going to baste sew the uppermost edge as well. Just kind of making it one piece of fabric. So what I'll do is I'll just put my needle down, and I'm just going to carry on round now, just to hold it, but I'm going to increase the stitch length. And then we're ready to sew in the pocket. Is anybody feeling a bit more confident about making this bag now? I do hope so. There we go. So that's done. Ta-da. So now I'm going to lay my pocket in. And there's a measurement, but I'm just going to pop it in. So I'm just going to lay that down, edge to edge, nice and straight. You can get your ruler if you want to make sure this is all correct. And then we're going to just sew down the sides. We're going to top stitch down there, meaning a 3.5. And of course we can subdivide down here as we go. Feel free to get your ruler out to do that and mark lines. I'm just going to wing it and do it as I go, because I'm not too troubled by that. And here we go. So I'm going to pop it back onto my 3.5. We're going to go down to that edge, and we're going to start working across. Bigger than I thought, is that? It's a really nice bag. I would say it's, yeah, I mean, it's not as big as the Warwick bag. Don't know who's made the Warwick bag here. I was actually thinking I might bring out a new, an addition for that pattern to make it a bit smaller. I was thinking about that at 3 o'clock this morning when I was laid awake. Like you do. Something else I've been thinking about, well, I'm pretty certain this is going to happen by demand, as it were. Thank you, Kathy. Is I'm going to do a bit of a sewing weekender thing for you guys if you want it. It's going to be a Friday and a Saturday, and it'll be for you to come along and make a bag with me. I'm going to make it so that I can honestly do my best to get the cost down as low as possible for you. These things do tend to be quite expensive. I'm more than aware of that. I am going to get rid of some of the frills that you might expect, such as that beautiful kind of venue. So it won't be like a hotel or anything like that. I mentioned earlier on, and bear with me please on this one, my brother is a bit of a churchgoer at our Methodist church, but it's actually a nice church. It's quite a modern looking building, very airy and light. It's got, you know, it's got things like a lift, which is quite important, and nice kitchens and stuff like that. But it's next door to a travel lodge as well. It is 3 minutes away from a fabric shop. So in terms of location, it's ideal. Because it's in a church, it's a bit cheaper. And I can pass all those costs on. So, yeah, I'm thinking of doing that in the new year. We'll get lunch in. We'll maybe go out for an evening meal or something. I won't include that in the price because it's not for everybody, and I get that. But, you know, it's so... We're not the biggest town, but we've got everything here for quite a pleasant couple of days away, really. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how that appeals to you guys. It'd be lovely to find out. Is this your cup of tea or whatever? Screen's gone off again. Right, so this is the inside of the bag done. And I actually subdivided this 3 times there. Once there. I made a smaller pocket there so I can put a pen in. And then all this here. Did I see something? I am going to buy some cam snaps and make this lovely bag. Cam snaps are brilliant, you know. I have my Kinross bag here, which thanks for the plug there, Michaela. This pattern is £2.90 or something on my Etsy store at the minute. If you want it, it's to make this case whatever size you want. I've got lots of them, but in this one I actually keep all of my cam snaps, lots of them, lots of different colours. And you know, you can go on to places like eBay and buy these really cheap. You can see how many I've used. I've used a ton of them. So yeah, I would recommend for sure. So if you need any, if you want to see me putting cam snaps on and the metal work, please say. I figured that might not be so interesting to you. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to complete making the inside of the bag. I've got to remind myself not to forget attaching the doodles, the straps. I would have done that by now normally. I'm just making sure these are all lined up here. That's all I'm doing there. And then I'll be having my normal stitch length to sew all the way down. I'm going to be taking out that 2-inch square again down on the bottom edge, which I'll probably do now. I'll just draw it in again. This time I will need a pen though, so let me just grab a pen. And my ruler. And let's cut out that 2-inch before we get going. Oh, well, that didn't work very well. Don't think my pen can be bothered. That will do for that. We're going to be putting our normal foot back on again. Probably for the last time now. Of course, we're going to pop in the IDT system. This is a Pfaff machine, in case you wanted to know. Not like it's a Pfaff. The brand is Pfaff. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Michaela. Whereabouts do you live, just out of interest? So I'm in Lincolnshire, for anybody that doesn't know. We're a rural kind of town. So I'm thinking, just to give you an indicator, for the 2 days sewing, it will be something like, I mean, don't hold me to this, but, you know, this is where I want to be at, you know, when I'm talking about affordability. Something like £100 for the 2 days. That's what I'm thinking. Because these things are really expensive anywhere else, and that's because you're paying for a really expensive venue. Don't get me wrong, the church isn't cheap, but I can work with that. So we're going to leave a gap down the side as well. Just to mention Manchester. Well, that's not too far away. Doesn't take me long at all to drive to Manchester. Kathy, bless her, whose idea this was, is coming from Ireland. So it's going to be, I don't know if I've said this already, but it will be on a Friday and Saturday. Mainly because transport links in Lincolnshire on a Sunday are not the best. And you know, you need a bit of time with your family and all that kind of stuff, don't you? So I'm just lining up those seams again here. So if you, it will be in Lincolnshire, yes. Well, that's ideal for you then, Katie, isn't it? If you've got family here as well. Perfect. How's the price sounding to people? I can't imagine it'd be any less than that because, you know, I've got things to think of, like I would probably include lunch unless people particularly wanted to go into town and buy the lunch, you know. I'm happy to have those conversations with people. I want to make it affordable for you. I want it to be what you want, really. But yeah, it's kind of nice that it's, you know, it's got all day parking right behind it, which you'd have to pay for, but I mean, that'd be like £4 or something. And then you're in the town. I mean, it's not a big hustly bustly town, but we got a fabric shop. What more do you want? We've got a wool shop if you're a yarny like me. So yeah, we've got what we need. So that's the inside done. That's all done. Now I'm not going to turn it through just yet. What we need to go back to doing is getting the straps in. Okay, so I've got my 2 straps here, and I might just take this bed off now here. So I've got a bit of space because I should have done this sooner really. I'm just going to attach these raw ends in now, and I'm going to overlap. There are details in the instructions, but we'll be fine here. And I'm going to sew these in really securely, like a few rows of stitching, so I want to know they hold. And then I'm going to pull this around. Oh, well, I'm super excited that a few of you are interested in this. As an indication then, just to give me an idea, would you want it to be in January or would you like it sooner? I'm thinking about the Christmas thing and cost, you know, that kind of stuff. I was also thinking that if it was in January, and I really don't mind, it's fine for me, whatever. You could then choose to pay maybe, I don't know, 2 consecutive months or something really good. Something like that, you know. So anything that makes it easy for you. I want it, like I say, affordable, accessible, all those things. Okay, no problem, Kim. Take good care, won't you? And thanks for coming along and watching a little bit. We are nearly done now. Can you believe that? You're probably thinking, how's she going to do this? I mean, I was confident, but that was before I was ill. Okay, so now what we're going to do, because the straps are in, these straps were from Merchant and Mills in case you want to know, is I'm now going to take, so let's do this methodically for you. Got the pocket facing upwards and I've got my lining. This is all going to slip over it now, but the pocket on the inside of here is going to be on the plain side of the bag, the outside of the bag. Okay, and we're just going to slip it all inside now. I'm going to make sure that those handles stay downwards. And then I'm going to clip these sides together. And I'm just going to work my way around now. Let's just turn this around just for a minute. Oh, you can see my face for a minute if you really want to. So we're just going to work our way around. And I'm going to line up the sides. I always go to the sides first and just keep clipping them. It's been fun, hasn't it? Fun for me. And I'm going to have a beautiful bag at the end of it all. But you can have yours too. If anybody needs a copy of this pattern, I do have copies here. Obviously, Sewing Street have got these too. They've got them with kits. like I say, I can sell you the oilcloth. The oilcloth on its own would be, and I haven't priced it up, but I'm going to say £10 for what you need. And I've got it in this, like I say, this brown colour. You can have a look at that when I get to the end. So, and that doesn't include your postage. I've got plenty of this green fabric, so if you wanted the green in particular, I can do that for you too. Honestly, I don't tend to advertise kits per se, but if anybody ever says to me, can you put me a kit together? Of course I can. If you're unsure about combination, things like that, it's fine, I can do it for you. And we'll have that conversation separately. That's absolutely fine. Right, I am now going in for a bit of one of the final sews now. Oh, well that fell. Sorry about that. There we go. So I'm just going to work my way around. 2.5 on the machine again. And start working your way around. Take the free arm off your sewing machine. You will have that function, I've no doubt. Slide the clips along as you go. Now open these seams as I go as well. Just it's all about spreading the load a little bit there. I'm starting to think about breakfast now. I always tend to get hungry around 10 o'clock, so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use that hole that we left previously on the side seam. And I'm going to turn the bag through. It's again, like I say, it's going to be a little bit tougher because I'm working with oilcloth. But perfectly doable. And trim the threads. Right. Let me pull the camera back round again because it will take me a minute or two. There we go. Oh, a little itch in my eye. So that's what we've got at the minute. Let's get our muscles on. So just keep reaching in, keep turning it through. Oh, it's coming nice easy. Would love brown, please. Do you have an alternative to the cave too? Don't, to the calf too. I don't tell him, but I don't like his fabric. Who are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about, Katie. Well, I don't really know what the difference is between the side gap and the bottom gap, to be honest. Why don't you like the bottom gap? Can you see it more or something? I mean, the only problem with using the side gap in this one is that you've also got that side pocket that you're going to have to manage as well. But on the bottom, I just feel like that when because you've got a narrower space already and then you're sewing the ends and then you've got your gap, it's quite weak. That's why I've done it on the sides in this case, because it needs to be strong. So I'm just giving it a good old tug. Make sure you message me if you want fabrics and things like that. That's fine. The cave. See, I got the cave up there and I love it. What's wrong with cave, Katie? Yeah, I mean, I can do whatever you like. If you want some brown, I mean, what kind of thing do you fancy, Katie? You tell me what kind of fabrics you fancy and I can sort that out. I mean, it's only for the outside. If you want lining fabrics, of course, I can sort you out a plain. But, like I say, you've probably got plenty in your stash. I think the bottom takes the extra weight of content and not so obvious. So mixed views maybe about where I prefer a bottom gap. Do you? You prefer a bottom gap? I'm very, very pleased for you, Michaela. I'm just being silly now. I'm making a right mess of sewing this together, pinning it together. It's because I've not ironed it. I would always iron this bit, always. Now, on this side gap, don't be lazy like me. Hand sew it, please. And then just but I am lazy. My sewing machine is the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 630. I got it from the New Craft House, and it's actually one of their, I'm going to call it an ex-demonstrator if you like. But you know, one that they've used in lessons for like, they claim only 10 hours. So you get like 100 quid off it. I don't know. I bought this over the 680. So on Sewing Street, they always have the Elners, don't they? And I had an Elner. There was nothing wrong with my Elner. I just wanted to treat myself. But I chose this one because I like the look of it. It's only about aesthetics. That's it. But there's just a couple of niggles I have with it, which you'll have seen today, is that it just doesn't feed fabric in that well at the start. It irritates me. And the second thing that it does is it's because it's got this thread cut function. When you go to sew the next time around, it nests the threads underneath, and I don't like that. I don't think that's the faff. That's probably most. I don't know. I'm going to tuck this inside now, and then we're going to top stitch to finish. And then I've just got to do the rivet bits. Rivet. You love a hand sewn gap? I'm really lazy. I can't think. I've actually got quite a few gaps in my bags that I just pinned. Never finished them off. Oh, how bad's that? So I'm just really making sure that's in nice and tight. It doesn't matter really if you don't top stitch here. There are bags that I've done. I've got a husband about to walk in again. You may come in. Hello, 15.
Good with a towel.
I was going to come with you. Yeah. Husband wanting to make day plans. There's a craft fair thing in town that we're going to go to. So we want to know how long I'm going to be. So I need to upgrade to a better buttonhole option and an auto needle threader. Okay, so a bit of advice from me, and this is just my opinion. I wouldn't buy a sewing machine for its ability to thread a needle. The reason why I say that is they are incredibly handy. They are. I'm never going to argue with that. But the wires that they seem to use in order to pull that thread through, they seem to break actually surprisingly easy. And then you're without, or you've got to go get it fixed or something like that. So if your eyesight is poor, buy one. If your eyesight is still in good condition, I wouldn't buy one, is what I'm saying. However, the buttonhole function must, absolute must. I'm just spending quite a bit of time just really pushing this down. I'm going to sew all around the top now. If I was to come into trouble with all these layers, which I don't think I will do, instead what I would do is think about which areas I really need to top stitch. I.e. on these side seams, you'll know this yourself for your bag maker, it can be a bit challenging. If that was a challenge, I wouldn't sew that bit. Instead, I would take, say, the back panel, if I put it out straight, and I would say maybe measure in 1 inch and sew across to 1 inch and stop. And that will look just as nice as going all the way around and stops those ugly slipped stitches that you can get instead. I'm going to turn my stitch length up, and I'm actually going to increase it this time to a 4. I'm going to make it that a little bit longer, just because I want to give it every opportunity to go through. I'm going to leave my normal foot on, but I've moved the needle far right this time. Okay. I always start somewhere on the back, so that if I have a problem when I'm starting out, it's on the back, and the back of the bag normally sits towards your body, out the way. We don't want to see any ugly bits on the front. Also, with all these multiple layers that you have you heard of the hump jumper? I would recommend you get one if you can. So the things that I'm recommending today are your roller. Let me know if you need one. I don't know what tip I just gave you, Gillian. That's how bad my memory is. Oh yeah, about the sewing, yeah. A hump jumper helps you manage going over multiple heights of fabrics. Mine is in here. And this is all they look like, but they're kind of handy. Let me just pop the needle down, just trying to see. So here on the back of the fabric, it's a little bit flatter, if you like, than here. So it might want a little bit of help in order to sort of, because it's got to go up a slope. It's only very gradual. So the way we do that is you get your hump jumper, and there's a narrow side here and there's a deep side. We're going to use a narrow because it's not that big. Needle down, and I'm going to slot that right under here. Okay, so that's created a bit of extra depth over here. If you were to see the amount of clips and pins on my floor, honest to God. Right, and I'm just going to start working forward. I'm just going to push that forward again. I've just put it in a little bit soon, really. Right. Now that, I can't see the stitching, but it's created the depth that I needed to help it go through up and down without creating those slip stitches. You're going to see in a minute. So I've got to the join area. Take that out. So now I'm at the join, we're now at the same level. So I can take it out there. Oh, didn't like that so much. Let me just help it a little bit. There we go. And that's got over. Because I started the hump jump a little bit soon, it's got a slip stitch right at the back, but that's fine because I can sew over that. It'll just pull out as I get round. So now I'm just going to keep going round. Nice and slow. Turn the speed down a little bit actually. Keep those straps out of the way. I'm just being a bit quiet so I can focus on this bit because it's the bit that you really see, isn't it? And I'm just watching out for slip stitches. I have got some over there. That's a bit of a pain. What I might do is just stop and put a fresh needle in because that won't be helping. But it will be fine. It's gone round this front area beautifully, can you see? But then as I've just gone round here, it's slipped and it's on that join area again. So I'll do it again with a hump jumper, but I'm going to put a fresh needle in. So I will do that in just a minute. Okay, so, but when that's done, we've got ourselves a bag. I will share photos at the end, of course, of this in all of its glory. We've of course got our little clip that goes on the inside of the bag. Let me attach. Oh. Fingers and thumbs. Perhaps that can go inside. So let me show you my Woodloes bag. There we go. All done. All done. And inside we've got our beautiful slip pockets and contrast facings. So thank you, I love it too. I knew I'd love it, I knew I would. It is really, really nice. I've just got to finish that stitching. It's a bit of a pain, but you know, it's the way it goes sometimes. The only way you're going to really, really, truly know that you're going to just cut like butter is to get a semi-industrial really, or an industrial machine. I've just never quite fancied one. I'm really bothered that whatever I make you can make, and we don't all have industrial machines, let's be honest. So it's how are we going to work around it instead. So like I said, I'm going to pop on a new needle and use my hump jumper over those seams. I'm going to do it off camera so I can just chill out a little bit rather than feel anxious with it, if you know what I mean. You'll know the feeling. And then we're going to need to get that metal working.